All right, boys, welcome back to another video. Swaggy here. Today we're going to be reacting to the Baltimore Ravens 41-10 victory Sunday afternoon over the Denver Broncos. This was as dominant of a game as you'll see in the league this year. The Ravens controlled the line of scrimmage the entire time. They ended up running the ball for 127 yards. They threw it for 280. You compare that to the Broncos, just 223 yards. Now keep in mind, Bo Nix threw 33 times, Lamar threw 19. So there's a clear lack of efficiency. I mean, that's actually more than double. Like the Ravens completed more than double yards per attempt than the Broncos did, and Denver did rush for more yards per carry. But at the same time, a lot of this was just kind of you're up big, and Broncos were surprising at running the football, whatever, right? But the reason why the Ravens just controlled this game again was just the offensive and defensive line. Derrick Henry, 23 carries for 106 yards, 4.6 average, 2 touchdowns. I think right now, if I had to pick an MVP, I'd go with Lamar Jackson. But I think if I had to pick a second MVP, I'd go with Derrick Henry. I know you can't have a co-MVP in football, but if there were to ever be a time, it would truly be these two guys. I mean, this is the most dominant duo that I've seen in the league since Brady and Gronk. They're that good. And of course, they've got to go out there and prove it and win a Super Bowl. But this is a great start. Good bounce back after an embarrassing loss to the Browns last week, of course, on the road 29-24. And Lamar, he just didn't have to do too much in this one because the ground game was so good. It wasn't the most efficient, right? 3.7 yards per carry isn't anything crazy, but it's just the ability to continue to run it and to not shy away from it. I mean, Henry had multiple runs in this one for 0, 1 yards, but he also had a lot of long runs as well, 7, 8, even got up to 20 yards. These two guys, I mean, it's just pick your poison, as Lamar said it best. It's just so difficult to stop. You never know what's coming. I mean, Lamar was pretty much perfect in this game, 158.3 rating. Like I said, 16 of 19, 280 yards, 14.7 average, 3 touchdowns. I knew this game was over when at the end of the first half, Zay Flowers had that crazy 53-yard touchdown catch. He finished overall 5 for 127 and 2. He just completely broke free and was able to score. His speed is one of the more important things on this team. Everyone's going to talk about Lamar and Henry, but this team without Zay Flowers is not going to go very far this season. Just his ability to break loose, to catch it and run, it's just fantastic. Just get him the ball in open space and let him make a play. We also saw Justice Hill with 3 catches for 43 yards. You guys can tell there's definitely a clear lack of weapons outside of Flowers. Mark Andrews, 2 for 26 in this game. He's been a little bit up and down this year. He's been more utilized as a blocker. I say likely. I don't even think had a yeah, he didn't have he had a target, but he didn't have a catch. So going out and getting Deontay Johnson, Deontay is still exactly getting up to speed. Of course, it's going to take him some time. I mean, this offense isn't the easiest to learn. Johnson in this one didn't even see a target. He wasn't out there for that much. I mean, I didn't really see him in many formations, but I mean, the reason why the Ravens went out and made that trade was because they've had some drop issues, especially Rashad Bateman. He had another big drop in this game. It didn't really matter because the score was so lopsided, but I think Johnson truly was just one of maybe like 2 pieces left that the Ravens need. I mean, the deadline's in 2 days. I don't think they're going to make another big move. But the secondary for Baltimore is definitely their biggest issue. They came into this game 32nd in terms of passing yards allowed. I think it was like 291 or something yards at the top of my head allowed per game. And this one, they did as good as you can against the pass. You're going up against a rookie, but it's not any rookie, the rookie of the month. Yes, over Jaden Daniels, who's killing it. He's having one of the best rookie seasons ever, and Nix was able to beat him out for that Rookie of the Month award. So this isn't an ordinary rookie. This is the Rookie of the Month. And Nix just was bad, man. I mean, 19 of 33, 223 yards, 6.8 average. That's not terrible, but I mean, just the lack of efficiency, that one pick. And remember, the interception came, what was it, the second play of this game? It was very early, and that just set a bad tone for Denver. The last time they had a pick on their first drive, opening drive, they lost to the Chargers at home, a divisional game. So it just doesn't really turn out well for you, yet alone anyone. But 4 sacks for Nick, 65.6 rating. The reason why I think Nick's was so bad in this game is because he tried to use his legs too much. And also, Baltimore dominated up front. They did a good job of getting home without blitzing, which is great for them. But Nick's, he just was not able to read exactly what Baltimore was trying to do. And he tried to do a little bit too much. And he missed throws too because of the pressure, right? It wasn't just like he completely missed a wide open receiver on his first pick of the game. No, it was actually the pressure from Baltimore forcing him to throw it a little bit high because of the arm angle. So you got to give credit to these guys. The defense just did what it was supposed to. I mean, Denver's not a great offense. They're known for their defense, but when you hold them to 10 points, I mean, you're gonna win that game 95% of the time for the Ravens if they only have to score 11 points. And the second half, Baltimore didn't even give up a point. They were able to stop the Broncos multiple times on 4th and goal, and that was just sort of the direction that this game ended up going because of the physicality in Denver. It's not even like they came into this unprepared. I mean, they were at the first half, they were only down, like I said, 7 points with like 40 seconds left, and the Ravens got that breakaway catch and run by Flowers. So this was a close game in the first half, but again, just that final play by Flowers, and then in the second half, the Broncos just were a no-show, man. I mean, Baltimore 14 unanswered, of course, technically 21 unanswered. At the end of the second half and forward, but third quarter 14-0, fourth quarter, Baltimore at that point was just running the ball, and that's why honestly their average was only 3.7 because this game was just so out of hand that they just ran the ball, and the Broncos knew it was coming. If it hadn't been for that, right? I mean, like if the Broncos offense was putting up any sort of points, I mean, the Ravens would have been insane, like what they would have done, right? But they kind of just punted in the fourth quarter. But I thought this game would be a lot closer. I mean, it's easy to see the score and be like, oh, well, it's just the Broncos. But Denver was 5-3 coming into this game. They had played some high level football. They were one of the hottest teams, in the past month. Yeah, I mean, you date back to the start of October, they ended up winning three of their last four games, and their one loss was by one score, like I said, that weird one to the Chargers. So this was a hot football team. They felt like they had a good chance to win this. They had a chance to make a statement, go into Baltimore and knock off the Ravens. I mean, that would have been huge for that team's confidence, but they just never really stood a chance. And Derrick Henry, he's definitely getting one of the game balls from me. 23 of 106, two touchdowns. As a receiver, Henry had a catch for 27 yards. I mean, he was just completely wearing down this Denver defense, right? This wasn't like a vintage Henry performance. I mean, he had two touchdowns, he had over 130 yards. Like it was a good one. But just his ability to mentally just wear down a physical Broncos defense, a defense for Denver that it hadn't been dominated this badly all year. I mean, the one game that comes to my mind would be the Los Angeles Chargers one, but this was not that bad. I mean, this was from start to finish. The Chargers game, there was two quarters in there in the second half where Broncos won that, but this was just all four quarters, and that's why you go out there and you get Derrick Henry. He's just so dominant, so dynamic, and to me, he's got to be number two in MVP. I'd put Lamar number one. I probably would put Josh Allen tied with Jaden Daniels for three, but I feel like a lot of people are going to discredit just Lamar Jackson by giving Henry the MVP. Lamar is without question the MVP. I mean, he's got the best numbers by far for quarterbacks. His team's 6-3, but Henry, he was the missing piece. The reason why the Ravens, in my opinion, haven't won a Super Bowl so far with Lamar is because they haven't had that consistent dynamic weapon next to Lamar. They've had Mark Andrews, right? They tried to get Odell, that didn't really work out. But I mean, we're talking about just somebody that is one of the best to ever do it. I mean, Henry, he scored his 100th touchdown in this game. Only 10 players have ever done that in the history of football. And Henry doesn't seem like he's slowing down anytime soon. So it'll be interesting to see what he does the rest of the year. I mean, these stats right now are not updated. He's over 1,000 yards. I mean, think about that for a second. Derrick Henry is over 1,000 yards rushing, and we're in week 9 right now. I mean, there's still going to be a lot of football left. Henry might hit 2,000, which wouldn't even be the first time he's done that. And to that point, you go over 2,000 rushing yards, your team has an elite record. I mean, he's going to get some serious votes.